Hey, this is BJ. Thanks for listening to our show's podcast. If you're a fan of all things geeky, you should check out my other podcast, BJ Shea's Geek Nation. We have new episodes every day, and you can check it out at bjgeeknation.com.
Your driver's license is important so you can get back and forth to work, get your kids to school, and back and forth to daycare. If your license has been suspended because you can't pay your tickets, you can't do any of those things. Let's talk about Chapter 13 bankruptcy. You may have heard the tickets cannot be discharged, but they can be dealt with in a Chapter 13 case. Why not come in for a free consultation? The chapter you choose will make all the difference to your getting back legally on the road. Let's design a plan to pay off your tickets and restore your license immediately. I'm attorney Travis Gagne. Please contact me today at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com.
99.9 KISW, the Rock of Seattle. The World Video Game Hall of Fame just announced its newest inductees. I'm not a big fan of this one, but everybody says this is actually the better game.
Barnstorming.
Barnstorming did not make it, sir. I'm sorry.
Damn it. Paperboy.
Paperboy.
Oh, I love that game.
I don't know if it's already in there or not, but it did make this one. Yeah. Ms. Pac-Man got inaugurated.
Oh yeah. So you're not a Pac. You rather Pac-Man than Miss Pac-Man?
No, I don't like either one. I don't like either one.
Okay,
but I mean, Rev's not here, but I've heard Rev many times, who is a Pac-Man, at least aficionado, says that Miss Pac-Man is the better game. So she deserves to be in there because Pac-Man obviously is like one of the greatest games created of all time, and if she's better, why not?
I'm indifferent. Obviously I'm not maybe an obsessive Pac-Man fan, but if there's a Pac-Man or a Miss Pac-Man, I'll go with either one because they're both awesome.
I could never do that game. That's why I hated it.
Pac-Man?
I could never. I was always horrible at Pac-Man, so that's why I hated it. How? You move the joystick in a way that does not give you success, and you get eaten all the time by the ghosts.
But it's like the easiest concept of a game.
I could not do well at it.
Oh,
I could play it. I did not do well at it.
Never made it past level 1, huh?
I might have got to level 3, maybe. Maybe.
It was exhilarating when you got that pellet and all the ghosts are right up on your ass. And then
what about Pac-Man? Okay. For all of our ghost hunters out there, Steve's got a fetish. Also in the Video Game Hall of Fame, Dance Dance Revolution, DDR. It deserves it because it was a massive thing,
a game changer for a while.
I've never played that game.
Yeah. What kind of parent do you have? We had all those. We had that in our house. Even in our house, we had it.
Come to think of it, I don't think I ever played it either. No. I would always see people playing it at GameWorks back when we had that video game place in downtown Seattle, and I would get too insecure to even think of trying to do it because I'm not very. I'm not a dancer. I don't know if you guys
you're
know
not
that.
a dancer. Yeah. And so you never got the home. You didn't have kids, so you didn't have the home version. They were in that middle age where.
We were playing video games around that time, and when Dance Dance Revolution came out, but none of us had any interest in buying that whole setup.
Yeah, ours was more Guitar Hero.
Yeah,
they came out around. I mean, I think Dance Dance Revolution was first.
It was the first one,
but that paved the way for the guitar and rock bands.
Me and my buddies were never fans of those games where there was that running game. I don't know if you remember that, where it had a giant mat that you put on the floor and you'd run and it would make you run on the game.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
It was terrible.
And it's funny too because I feel like when the Wii came out, that was one of those where it was really trying to get you up and physical, and I was I was much more of the camp of I want to sit in my beanbag with my Doritos and play games for 8 hours. I don't want to stand up and do physical activity.
If I wanted to sweat, I'd actually go to the gym.
Yeah,
video games like the antithesis. That's the opposite of it.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah, DDR was definitely a thing, and and of course,
did you ever play DDR?
Yeah.
Were you good at it?
Oh no,
I bet Sarah was good at it.
Oh, Sarah, that's why we had it. Sarah just loved it. Of course, you also have the broken mats. How many people remember those? Where it was a great game until, of course, the mats got broken, and then you couldn't play it anymore. Well, you could use the.
You had to be a serious gamer like all my friends because I was in the anime geeky club in high school, and they all had a piece of board underneath theirs to keep it from breaking.
Good thinking.
Oh, I didn't know about this pro
carpet.
Yeah, so whenever we'd have parties, they would bring their whole setup with this big old piece of plywood or whatever.
And that was the trick to keep them from breaking.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Vicky, why did I not know geeky people? Because we had no clue.
Yeah, I didn't until I saw them play.
See, the home version I thought was just low budget. It was the one that you would see at a video game play.
It worked.
No, I know it worked, but there's something about that big like the poles that you could, like everything that was all set up at the actual video game place, like
it's
an arcade.
Usually, it's really hard to replicate an amazing, like you said, with the ambiance of a great video game. Like, because you still now have like places like Lucky Strike where you can go to and play those kind of.
And some bowling alleys would have like Dance Dance Revolution, like in the little video game wing of the bowling alley.
I think Dave & Buster's still has Dance Dance Revolution.
And by the way, if you don't know, we have a Dave & Buster's in Bellevue.
Look out!
Oh yeah, people!
Oh, for only just under $9,000, you can get one of those Dance Dance.
Do it, Steve.
That would be hilarious if I came home today and like, babe, I got something for that one room we haven't figured out what we wanted to do with.
I don't think hilarious is what the response from your wife would be.
It's like, not only will we have fun, Tatum loves stomping. She'll love this game.
Yeah. So two of those are the two games, by the way, that got in out of the four, Miss Pac-Man, Dance Dance Revolution. This one here, a lot of folks are going to know it. I've never played this game, but if you had a Nintendo, you know all about Zelda. The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. That was... is
that a different one than just the regular Legend?
You're asking... I would assume it must be. Because I just thought it was just the Legend of Zelda was the first game.
Yeah, I kind of feeling that probably the original is already in, so this maybe is like a sequel.
It must have been really good if it was a sequel.
I have no idea.
Yeah, it was for the Nintendo 64.
Yeah, it came out in 98.
Yeah. Zelda's definitely an amazing franchise.
Did you ever play Zelda?
Never did.
I hated that game.
Yeah, my buddy Chris loved playing it, and I never wanted to play it because I hated how much of a time suck it was.
And I could never figure it out. I mean, it came out, I had my Nintendo when I was like, 5 or 6, trying to figure out how to I didn't know what to do. Like, I was like, I would never get, that was when I never got past the first level. I was like, man.
Yeah.
I still have it too. The gold version.
The gold, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the one that my buddy Chris had. And I was always like, I want to play Zelda. I'm like, I want to play like a game like we could play against each other, like football or baseball, like one of those sports games. Now I'm like, okay, great. I'm going to watch you play this stupid fantasy game.
Yeah. You know what? Steve was the best friend ever.
Well, I did it begrudgingly.
Joey Dees, did you play Zelda at all? Joey never did either. Was it a dungeon crawl? Is that pretty much what it is with some puzzles?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Some stupid little guy goes around and I think doesn't he eventually find like the princess or something?
Probably. Okay, are you talking about Mario?
His name is Link.
Yeah, It looks like a dungeon crawl kind of a thing. And hey, congratulations! Oh, that's a nice. Is that the N64 version you're showing me?
98.
Yeah. See, I remember when those graphics were amazing. Like when you first saw graphics like that.
Oh, it was like next level.
Yeah,
you're like this is like the closest thing to real life we'll ever have.
Yeah, and it's like, well, no, that's not true. Also, Sid Meier's Civilization, which a lot of you guys may not know what that is, but it is basically and I know stuff like this. These games are pretty epic. You basically build a civilization from scratch. You start off it as like a caveman almost, depending on certain games. And then you basically build your buildings and build your economy, build your technology. Yeah, and it's...
is that like a Farmville game nowadays? Is it like that?
Well, maybe a simplistic version. Farmville is.
Yes.
Though I've never played Farmville, so I can't say no. I can't say, but yeah, it's... and then you got to go too. I mean, it's...
yeah, these were never games that really like struck my interest.
No.
Yeah, and there's the board game. A lot of people don't think translated very well. There's been a lot of different versions of Sid Meier's Civilization. I have the latest. I kind of like it, but it's really not the best Civilization board game out there. That's for sure. But it's
Man, NBA Jam was up and it didn't make. That was one of the non-finalists.
Sorry.
Oh, I loved NBA Jam.
Right.
Sorry about that, buddy.
What was the basketball game where you had like the little bodies with the big heads? If I remember, like they're like.
Oh, I remember that.
They were cartoony versions.
Yes. Oh, I don't know what it was. You're right.
The first search is basketball game with big heads.
Yes. It was so much fun. I don't remember what the game was called, but I remember playing it all the time.
Was that? Could you get a treasure and find the princess?
Yes.
Okay, good. Then I'll play.
The princess was Charles Barkley, oddly enough.
Oh, Charles Barkley. All right.
Yes, that was the game. It was like, dude, you were playing like bobbleheads.
Big head basketball. Huh. What's the name of it?
It is NBA.
Is that
Jam.
NBA Jam?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was or wasn't.
I
NBA
think you could do like a cheat code, and they would come up with that. Yeah, I still have that game too. I have all my old Nintendo
Do the cheat
games.
code. Get the big heads working.
Yeah.
So we told you that Miss Pac-Man actually made the Hall of Fame, and here's an old school. This is a commercial. Way back in the day from Miss Pac-Man.
Hey, Joey, what's she really like?
She's the most exciting woman I ever met.
Yeah?
Atari introduces the Woman of the Year, Ms. Pac-Man.
Wow.
Just like the arcade classic. 4 different game screens, floating fruit, even pretzels.
Honey, don't you know I'm more
Reach for Ms. Pac-Man.
Man, acid must have been used a lot. In these
Of course, I'm a graphics snob, and I'm like, yeah, still not as good as the game. Not as the console game. Of course, that's not, I should say the arcade game. That's not the way it is anymore. But boy, that's what you used to go, yeah, I mean, it's okay, but Atari, your graphics are nowhere near what the arcade is.
I love the selling point was, we have now pretzels. I'm like, sold.
Well, that's what that was. You're it, Steve. I mean, that's what Miss Pac-Man had that Pac-Man didn't have.
And then the random Pac-Man cartoon, hey, don't you know?
Yeah.
She's the most exciting woman you'll ever meet. Ms. Pac-Man.
It's like these 3 kids, like 3 teens, they look like some of them.
Oh, they look like the Stranger Things kids, really.
And they're in a locker room, like, yeah, I met the hottest or the greatest girl ever. This Pac-Man.
No, you're right, Steve. Who was in charge of those commercials?
Steve,
genius.
do you remember a video game? I think it was on the Nintendo, or maybe it was Sega, but it was called Mutant League Hockey.
Yes.
That was the greatest game of all time.
I don't know this game at all.
It should be in the Hall of Fame.
It was like
Mutant League Hockey?
Yeah.
weird monsters that were the hockey players.
Yep.
Of course they were.
And you could fight, or you could get like passages to hell through the ice, and
Yes.
so great.
Oh, they had the Mighty Weenies.
Yeah.
That was my favorite team.
Who are they marketing this to? You know,
Me
it's
and
like,
Steve.
Yeah, I
Druggies.
guess so. I mean, it's like you've got hockey fans, and you can't obviously get an NHL contract, so you're not doing that. And
There were so many bad hockey games, BJ, and I played them all. This was one of my favorites, though, because it was just so stupid, but the ice would break.
yeah, I'm seeing that.
It was bad.
It was so great.
And
But
it looks like
yes.
it's, I mean, I feel like it's EGA graphics. That's what it looks like to me. It's very limited colors.
It's like very Sega Genesis era.
Wow.
Yep, and that was a Sega Genesis game.
That's what it was.
That one, I also loved the hockey game that had, you had the choice of either your line, your players were 3 really thin guys or 3 massively fat guys. And either you wanted speed or power, brother.
What do you want?
I always went power.
Oh, yeah,
I just
same.
wanted to wreck people.
That screen's getting me sick, Vicky. Can you turn it away?
Is it really?
Yeah, it's the way it goes up and down, and it's not.
Oh, that's
not,
crazy.
That's not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I love, though, with all these games is that if you introduce them to little kids, they're going to think it's the coolest thing ever. Because my dad got one of those old school Super Nintendos that have like 100 games loaded into it. And my little brother is obsessed with Miss Pac-Man and Mario, like the old school Mario.
Well, I guess it makes sense because they're not spoiled by anything yet. So if you start them on that, on a cheap thing, then you're really good. But don't start them on like, an Xbox, or they'll be like, no, they'll not want to.
Tatum and I, we just play Pong. And she thinks that's the greatest video game.
Do you really?
No.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't put it past you that would be kind of fun if she could get her eye-hand coordination to make it happen.
You say that Lily loves Tetris.
Yeah, we're not at that point where she really doesn't care about like video, like
Enjoy this time.
Yeah, Lily is what, 8?
Yeah.
Yeah,
She loves
slight
Tetris.
age difference.
Yeah.
Right now, we're big into Play-Doh.
Oh,
keep those
nice.
times
You got
going.
the Fun Factory working yet?
Kinetic sand. Forget about it.
The minute she finds Minecraft, it's all downhill from there.
That's bad,
yeah.
man. Yeah.
Put a
but
block on that on our phones. And I
everybody finds Minecraft, Steve.
don't even know what Minecraft is.
I still don't know how to use it. She's still teaching me how to play Minecraft. We play hide and seek in it almost every day.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I do that. I'm going to hide the apparatus where you play Minecraft with.
Steve, if you don't like Zelda, not that it's like completely like Minecraft, but I have a feeling you're not going to like Minecraft then.
Oh, that's Minecraft.
That's it. Yeah, you run around and do stuff.
And you build stuff, I guess.
There's no sports from what I can tell. Yeah. Yeah, and you're doing it by yourself, too, and you get to watch somebody do it.
walking around, putting like a stick on a thing and then like a block on a thing.
You're creating a world, Steve.
deep.
Yeah, man.
Deep.
70% of new homeowners say that they have at least one regret. Steve, you're still a relatively new homeowner.
Yes, I am.
So we'll see if you have at least one regret, and we'll see if, in fact, it's this one. I'll tell you at 8:17 on The Rock.
BJ and Migs, mornings on The Rock, 99.9 KISW.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle. Well, among recent home buyers, 70% have at least one regret.
Yeah, buying the house. No, kidding.
Well,
You're probably not wrong.
Yeah, for a lot of people, yeah.
yeah. And really, the reason being is 1 in 5 underestimated the total cost of actually buying a home.
You know, mine, it's not even really, it's not a regret, but it's, I think in retrospect, I think I'd want to move in somewhere where I already can. I wish there was a way to like know who your neighbors are ahead of time, like because like especially when we moved into a new development, so there was like no inkling of what the neighborhood was going to be like, and like no one's really bad in ours. Like, there's a couple people where you're just like, I mean, are we not paying attention to how things are supposed to be here? Like with like where they park or how it's just like it's minor things, but it's just like you wish you had better control over that, but it's impossible.
Yeah, and that's the good thing about me renting my house for so long and then eventually buying it. Because I knew I didn't plan it that way. I was going to buy another house, but then it just worked out that it was like, wow, I either have to move or I have to buy the house I'm in, and because I didn't want my kids to change schools, but I knew the house. I looked at my wife and I said, "That's the cool thing. We know the neighborhood, we know the house, we know the people. We actually did test drive this thing and we like it. Why not just buy this one?"
I wonder if we'll ever get to that point where there'll be like some way of like being able to assess like what the neighbors are like. You know what I mean? Like an app or something, like you go on Zillow and then it's like meet your neighbors. And it's like, well, John, he has like 15 billion cars and is always working on them. And Sally has like night terrors and screams her head off at night. Like it'd be interesting to just kind of get a vibe of like, what am I getting into with the addition of what my house is going to be like?
Or even just like, because I mean, I know like at least with renting you can get out of there. However, I mean, we have it kind of right now where we moved into an apartment and we're still in there, and there's just, there's the demon child downstairs.
Yes.
Who cries all night. There's, but you don't see that when you
there's
go.
There's the couple that does karaoke at 3 a.m. on the weekends.
There's the neighbor who's like, "Hey, will you pick up my packages every minute of the day?"
Yeah. Oh yeah, all of these are making up stories, of course.
Yeah, of course. But you don't realize that when you go for 15 minutes to see the apartment, because it's the middle of the day at 1 o'clock when everyone's at work. So of course it's quiet, and it's like, can we just like have a week trial?
And I even had that in my head. I was like, man, I'll celebrate the day that this family moves out of the neighborhood. And I'm like, well, what if like they're not that bad? They're actually, it's nothing awful. It's just like little things that get under your skin.
Sure.
But what if the next neighbors that buy that house are worse? So it's like, I guess I have to deal with this.
You're right, Steve. See, you sit there and think, I want to make sure the neighbors that I have are going to be cool when I buy the house. But if you're there for years, like we've been in our place for 20 years, we are in a great renaissance right now, because we had two neighbors that to the left of me, the neighbor had the pooping dog.
Yep.
To the right of me, the neighbor had the cops over all the time.
And they're gone.
And both of them are gone, replaced by families that have kids, and it's like kind of fun to have little kids in the neighborhood again. It's like a regular neighborhood, as opposed to, hey, it's an episode of Cops, or it's an episode of I don't have a dog pooping all over your lawn, and you have to fight with the guy going, yes, you do.
That was the one like kind of feel good moment when we moved out of our old development. Like, we're not like the most sociable neighbors, but we're also not pains in the ass neighbors. And then when people saw that our for sale sign was on, like we talked to more people we never had conversations with that were they're like, where are you guys going? I'm like, oh, it's moving not that far from here. Like, we're really bummed to see you guys leave. And I'm like, they're bummed because we were zero issues.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It was just like, we were never loud. We never did anything to make the neighborhood look bad. It was just, we were pretty much non-existent. And they were like, crap, the non-existent neighbors are leaving. We might have pain in the ass neighbors now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Your chances are you will.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep. That's a bad. So,
but my wife and I were laughing. We're like, all of a sudden, I'm realizing we have pretty nice neighbors, and it took us moving out to find that out.
That sucks, man. And that is it FOMO? Well, not FOMO, but is it just like buyer's regret, or is it your mind playing tricks on you?
I think it's that.
Were they really that good, or the grass is greener where you left? I don't know.
I think it's a little like there's a minor amount of sadness in the sense of like, oh man, it's like you can get kind of sentimental because this is where you live for so long, even though you never talked to these neighbors that have been your neighbors for 5 years.
So, Vicky, you're a relatively new homeowner. What regrets do you have? Because you went in by yourself. I mean, you did this. You were like, you know what? I'm not waiting to get married. I'm not waiting for it. I'm just going to get myself a home because that's what I want.
It's really dumb, but I regret, like, everyone told me, like, my real estate agent and the people, like, who sold the house, like, hey, you're going to want to repaint the trim. Otherwise, it's not going to be great. And I regret not doing that right off the bat, because now I have to spend, I don't know how much time scraping all this cracked paint. And I'm like, no, it'll be fine for another year or two. It's totally fine. No, it was not. Mm-hmm. So my house needs a...
And you're a DIY person, and I hated that, because my dad would have me do all that work, and I'm like, can't we hire somebody? I mean, I bet it'll look better too, Dad. Come on.
And I don't mind doing it, but every time I actually get the motivation to do it, it's a crappy day out.
That's right. We live in Seattle.
We live in Seattle. So,
It is so true. Whenever I want to get anything done, like anything at all, like power washing or whatever, and repainting, they're like, "Yeah, let's wait till August."
It's like, shit.
I was like, "Okay, I guess we'll have to."
It's the best one. I was like, "You gotta go outside and do this." I'm like, "The weather, next nice day," and then the next nice day, I'm like, "We should really take advantage and go to a park."
You're right. I mean, you don't want to waste a good day working. You want to be leisurely. You want to enjoy. You want to sit out on a patio with those nice lawn furniture you bought. You don't want to be working.
I've put off weeding for so long for that. It's like, it's so nice. You should go out and weed. I'm like, or we could go to that new park there in Edgewood. Like, that's really cool. It's like not that far from us.
Yeah. By the way, this market's insane. That's another thing people regret is the fact that they're like, why did I decide to buy a house now? And I got friends that want to buy a house now. You were lucky, Steve. You picked the right time and had the right situation because it's insane right now.
We got so lucky. It was like almost like within weeks, things got bonkers. Even in our development, it's like we look at like what our houses are going for, the new ones that they're building. And I looked at my wife and I was like, I remember even saying it to her when we bought this house. I'm like, if we don't buy this house now, we'll never be able to afford a house like this. And now we're looking at other houses in our development that are for sale. I'm like, we couldn't afford any of these houses. Like, it would just been, the mortgage would have been insane.
I have a friend. I'm going to try to keep this vague, but I have a friend that, but you know what? You picked the right company though. I'll give you that. But I have a friend who, has a good job, and his significant other has a good job, and they said, all right, we're going to put our house in the market. We would like to get a little bit more land. How about he puts his house on the market and gets almost $1 million over asking price with a bidding war? And
that's insane.
So because they didn't expect that. So because of that, his little more land, I am not kidding, turned into a compound. I went and recently visited him, and it's a gigantic gate that, you've got to be let in, and multiple structures on this compound. So he's got
I thought you were going to say strippers. I was like, wow, this guy's doing it right.
Ready,
I should have taken the job at Microsoft.
Yeah, and by the way, so he's got all this, multiple buildings on there. So he's got in-law apartments, and he's got this other gigantic garage, and he's got the main house. And he had a place, he had a place in a regular, place around here. It wasn't like he had a mansion around here, but because of this crazy bidding war, he's got to travel a bit to go to the new place, but he wanted land. And dude, he's got acres and acres of amazingly manicured land with all of these structures, and he paid less than what he sold his home around here for.
That's crazy.
I mean, that's how the bidding war is just insane.
See, now when Sarah kicks you out of your house, you have somewhere to go.
I do. You're absolutely right. I really want to. I kind of want to move in.
I mean, I'm sure he's got a mother-in-law.
Yeah. That's one of the structures. It's in the mother-in-law is
it could be called the pain in the friend-in-law.
The pain in the friend.
Friend.
I got news for you. I think I'm probably a good friend to this guy. That's all I'm saying.
Says who?
It's probably me. So there you go. There's the regrets that you have as a homeowner. And I don't know if you saw this because we talked about it earlier this week. And you might have seen the picture of the dude that attacked Dave Chappelle. And
he got wrecked.
He got wrecked by everybody.
Like, that should be a picture on the entrance of any comedy club and say, "Don't be this guy."
Yeah. And
or any performance space.
Jamie Foxx came to his rescue wearing a cowboy hat.
Which was amazing.
Yeah. And I don't know if you saw this recently. You can check out the video on the BJ and Migs page of KISW.com. But Jamie Foxx was filmed in a recording studio yesterday doing a great impression of Dave Chappelle reacting to being attacked at the Hollywood Bowl.
Bam, man, they ran up on stage. I was incensed. Pow! Thank you for Jamie Foxx. If you're ever in trouble, Jamie Foxx, show up with a sheriff hat. And all the other comedians just stood there. They're waiting on me to die.
That was really good.
I really thought that was Dave Chappelle, but it was actually Jamie Foxx doing an impression.
That's dead on.
Yeah, it's a really, that Jamie Foxx kid's talented. You know what I mean?
Shows up in a sheriff's hat.
That's the best. Just Jamie Foxx being there in a cowboy hat, and then all of a sudden he's in the middle of all this.
So I guess that guy that did it, the one that they had to beat up, apparently he had he's a hip hop artist, and he had a song called Dave Chappelle. Like, that was spelled differently, but he had a song called so I don't know what kind of weird obsession he's had with Dave Chappelle.
So is he? I mean, now what is he? Is he a mentally unhealthy person, or is he somebody trying to get, I don't know, TikTok, Instagram fame? I mean, whatever the hell that some people believe this is what I can do to get my claim to fame.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, he wrote the rap song, the song back in 2020.
Yeah, I will tell you this. The epicenter of all this, if it's true that this guy was just trying to get noticed, as opposed to he's got mental health issues, and I don't know, is we blame Kim Kardashian for this. We have to blame her for this.
What did she do?
She is the epicenter of this attitude that you do insane stuff to get famous. Because did you see Ray J just admitted that the video was intentionally a business deal between her and her mom to release the sex video? It was leaked by them.
Well, he's saying
that, yeah.
But there's no guarantee he's telling the truth.
What is his motivation to lie?
All of a sudden you're talking about the guy that no one ever talks about.
Yeah, and what's that going to get him? You know what I mean? It's like I'm not going to buy anything of his.
But you might pay attention to him. You might follow him. I don't know.
I believe it. I strongly believe it.
Have you seen his wiener? It's crooked. I'm sure he is too.
Oh, jeez.
Wow, that if that's your defense, sir, I
never trust a man with a crooked wiener.
Why hasn't Johnny Depp employed you to be on his defense team with your skills like this?
I've been told that since
100%.
Yeah. It was one of our professors said first day in the syllabus. It said never trust a man with a crooked wiener.
When you see the way the Kardashians have basically made their money,
there's a chance.
Listen, you're right, Steve. I don't have proof. It's definitely he said, she said, though. Hasn't
because you want to believe it, so you just believe it?
Not at all. I just take a look at facts, and I just realize the way her career has gone, everything that she's good for has started from that. Without that sex tape, Kim Kardashian's a nobody, and we don't buy her stuff.
Understandable, but I mean, sometimes people, and I'm not saying, look, I'm not naive to think that these crazy things happen, but I mean, there's also a chance that a crappy situation happened and she made the best of it. I mean, you look at like Taylor Swift. I always joke she's in cahoots with Kanye, but like she didn't ask for Kanye to storm the stage and embarrass her. But a lot of people would think and have said that her success went through the roof after that. Of course, she didn't want that embarrassing and humiliating moment, and it probably messed with her head. But on top of it, she gained new fans and new attention.
I can't disagree with you basically giving, could easily be like one side or the other.
Right.
And that's the thing. The fact that Ray J comes out and says this.
But who's Ray J? Ray J's
he's the guy with the crooked penis.
I know who he is, but you know what I mean? Like, nobody ever talks about him. He's not on anyone's thoughts. All of a sudden, he's like, I need attention. This is the easiest way for me to make attention.
So you'd rather believe that than Ray J finally going, you know what, I can't keep my mouth shut anymore. Everybody is like, everyone's saying what a genius she is, what an amazing. It
takes a lot for me to believe that a mom and a daughter would want to have a sex tape released. As crazy as that family might be. And I could be wrong, and I'm not thinking I'm not willing to put money on this. I'm definitely not willing to put money on this.
You must not have watched a lot of the Kardashian shows because I think they've already made a spectacle.
Why'd you even ask me that question?
Well, that's what I'm saying. They've already sold themselves to make money.
I know that, but I don't know if a mom is going to push for her daughter to put out a sex tape.
Oh, see, you're thinking like a regular person.
No.
I mean, seriously.
That's the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking like a Hollywood person. See, Hollywood is not normal, and you're thinking like a normal person.
Vicky, Danny, do you think it's...
He said it, so that's why I'm bringing it up there. It's like he's putting it out there.
People have lied before, BJ.
I agree. That's why I think the Kardashians are lying if they deny this.
See, I agree. I'm more on Steve's.
You know why? Because you're S and Steve's blank. You never side with me, Danny. Danny never sides with me.
No, because I read that same article and he was basically being like, "Oh, they ruined my career," and I just wanted to set the record straight that this is well. And it's like, okay, so you haven't done anything in forever, and now you're going to blame them for ruining your career.
Right, you're a nobody.
You could first off, you're a nobody. Secondly, you could have also benefited from that sex tape as well, but you didn't.
I almost want to bet. Vicky,
how do you find the truth, though?
Well, it's going to come out eventually. I mean, somebody. I think if somebody cares enough, they will release some sort of something.
Well, the only people that would admit to it would be the mom, Kim Kardashian, or Ray J. And
how about the people that distributed it?
I mean,
you know what I mean? That guy from Seattle. We found out the truth about him when it came to Pam and Tommy's tape. We got all the info there thanks to Seth Rogen.
Well, they both have denied it. But you choose not to believe them. You just want to believe Ray J.
I 100% believe Ray J because I just the way the Kardashians operate.
What has Ray J done in his life that makes you believe that he's a credible source?
It's more what they have done to make money is all I'm saying. And I'm not judging them for doing this because I think it's pretty smart to go, you know what? People would be interested in this and we need to make a living in life and do financial stuff. I got no problem with what the Kardashians have done, except they've shown that just be famous to make money rather than having to be good at something to make money.
I'm not here to defend the Kardashians.
I feel like you are, actually.
But they have worked very hard to create a business empire that is like on a whole other level. And it's not. I mean, yes,
I'll give them that. They
definitely got the notoriety from something like the sex tape. But since then, it's like when people are like, oh, that guy, look at all those muscles on that guy. He clearly took steroids. It's like, you don't just inject steroids and muscles just grow. It's like you got to still put in a crap ton of work to get big.
Oh, damn.
But like the steroids enhanced it. So like maybe the sex tape enhanced people talking about Kim Kardashian. But for her to be as successful as she is, she's had to put in a lot of work.
Yeah, I'm not saying she hasn't put in work, but I feel like every little thing that they do is a ploy or an addition to everything they've done. So, for example, I noticed that when they post a lot of their pictures on Instagram, there's always a Photoshop fail. They have millions and millions of dollars. How could they have Photoshop fails in their photos? It's to get people talking. So everything they do, I'm not.
So are you believing Ray J and his crooked wiener? Is that what you're trying to tell
Vicky,
me?
I love these. You know what? Show more smartness in these pretend Ivy Leaguers with their T-shirts.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he's trying to bring this to light because he's like, I got nothing out of this.
Exactly.
Like, he wants attention.
I want money.
That's the motivation. Yeah, they should have paid him off.
However, the Kardashians are very smart to capitalize on every single thing they do.
Oh, God, that's all they've ever done.
Which, I mean, like, hate them or love them, like, they made a lot of money. So
I mean, Caitlyn Jenner's journey was also just a big windfall for their whole thing.
Like I said, I'm not willing to put money on this.
You need to put money on it because I will. I put money on Ray J.
Well, hey, when are we ever going to get the end result? Like, when are we going to get the happy ending of this story?
We need to get Bill O'Reilly or somebody to do an expose. What's he doing these days? To get him to do it.
What the hell is he going to do? He's going to investigate Ray J and his crooked wiener?
I feel like the crooked wiener doesn't have to be investigated. We know it's crooked. Right. Unless they're lying to us about that, too. I don't know. But, I mean, I feel like there's somebody that could come forward for the right amount of cash.
Man, could you imagine, though, like you're creating this whole thing with your mom about a sex tape? I couldn't even think of that.
See, you're a normal guy. You would never do that.
Like, hey, Mom, you know how we can become famous?
Yes.
I should release this sex tape that I had with this guy. And then Mom's like, yes, I'll call my
think it's the other way around. I think it's, what's her mom's name, Freddie?
Chris.
Yeah, I think Chris.
I don't even know.
And if I'm not mistaken, didn't the article say it was kind of Chris's idea? Like, we should do this?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and she is a mastermind when it comes to doing stuff. You got to give Kris Jenner credit. She's like, hey, here's opportunity. Here's how we can monetize it.
Yeah, I guess I'm just like, it just seems so absurd. But that, like I said,
wow, I know, because your brain, which I can't believe I'm saying this, your brain is too normal to even entertain the idea.
That's what's up.
Which I don't understand, because your brain really has issues.
Princeton.
Thank you.
It's because of his Princeton T-shirt?
Now that I'm wearing the shirt, you're going to see the true side of me.
It's just Princeton brain.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yesterday, Steve, Mr. Princeton Brain, did get this
one. Tiger Brain.
Oh, is that what we're going to call it there? Okay,
soda,
winning.
potato, and corn are all types of what food item?
Pop.
No.
Princeton on soda,
water.
No.
Potato chips.
No.
Yay, Princeton.
Well, I didn't wear the shirt yesterday.
Oh, that's what it was, yeah.
Bread.
Good job. Well, listen, I didn't know it was bread either, so I can't throw stones at the Ivy Leaguer.
Thank you.
You want a shot at beating Steve? You got it. 206-421-ROCK. We're playing Beat Miggs at 847 on The Rock.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Travis Gagne, bankruptcy attorney. He's here right now and has agreed to answer more of your questions about bankruptcy. Here's a question from a listener. My house is currently in foreclosure. I've stopped making payments. What can I do to save my house?
If you're already in foreclosure behind on your mortgage, you can stop the foreclosure by filing a bankruptcy. There's different types of bankruptcy. Chapter 13 can help you catch up on your house payments if you're behind. It would mean that you'd have to start making your house payments again and catch up on the amount that you're behind over 5 years. You could also take off or strip off your second mortgage, which would help you to reduce your housing payment every month, especially once you're done with the plan and done catching up on your first mortgage. We could also try to buy you some time by filing a Chapter 13 case. Filing a Chapter 13 would definitely stop your foreclosure.
Thanks, Travis. If you have more questions about bankruptcy, you can reach out to Travis anytime at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com. And thanks for listening.